The freezing rain hammered down on the cracked asphalt as Marcus wiped his greasy hands on his coveralls, ready to lock up his small garage for the night. That's when he saw them, a woman and a young boy huddled against the dumpster behind his shop, both soaking wet and shivering. The woman's face was swollen and bruised, her arm wrapped protectively around her son who couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Their clothes, though torn and dirty, looked expensive. Something wasn't right. Marcus's heart dropped. He was barely scraping by himself, a single dad working 16-hour days to keep his daughter fed, but he couldn't just walk away from this. Before we continue with this incredible story, I want to invite you to join our Kindness World family. Please hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up if you believe in the power of compassion, and drop a comment below telling us about a time when someone's kindness changed your life. Your support helps us share more stories that remind us all what truly matters. Now, let's get back to Marcus and the shocking discovery he's about to make. Marcus approached slowly, not wanting to startle them. "Ma'am, are you okay?" he called out softly. The woman flinched, instinctively pulling her son closer. Her eyes were wild with fear, darting around as if expecting someone to jump out of the shadows. "Please," Marcus said, raising his hands to show he meant no harm. "I own this garage. You can't stay out here in this weather. Let me help you." The woman's lip trembled. "We have nowhere to go," she whispered, her voice hoarse. "I just need somewhere safe for tonight. Just one night. Please." The little boy looked up at Marcus with eyes that seemed far too old for his young face, eyes that had seen things no child should ever witness. Marcus thought about his own daughter, safe at home with his elderly mother. He thought about his empty wallet and the bills piling up on his kitchen counter. He thought about the half-empty pantry and the broken heater in his apartment. Then he looked at this mother and son again, beaten and desperate, and he knew there was only one choice he could make. "Come on," he said gently. "Let's get you both inside and warmed up." He led them into the small office attached to his garage, turned on the space heater, and grabbed the emergency blanket he kept in his truck. The woman, who introduced herself as Elena, wrapped it around her son, Daniel. Marcus made them hot coffee and gave them the sandwich he'd packed for his own dinner. He didn't ask questions. Not yet. He just let them warm up and catch their breath. As the night wore on, Elena's story slowly emerged. She'd escaped from her husband, a man whose charming exterior hid a monster underneath. She'd taken Daniel and run with nothing but the clothes on their backs. They'd been on the streets for 3 days, hiding, terrified that he'd find them. She was ashamed, she said, because she came from a world where this wasn't supposed to happen. Marcus listened without judgment. He'd seen enough in his 42 years to know that pain didn't discriminate. Rich or poor, everyone bled the same. When Elena finally fell asleep in the chair, Daniel still clutched in her arms, Marcus made a decision. He called his mother and told her he wouldn't be home that night. He'd stay at the garage to make sure Elena and Daniel were safe. The next morning, Marcus used what little money he had to buy them breakfast. He made some calls to shelters, but everything was full. Elena was terrified of going to the police, convinced her husband's connections would find her. Marcus found himself in over his head, but he couldn't abandon them now. So he did something crazy. He offered them his daughter's room temporarily. Said he and his daughter would share his room. His mother thought he'd lost his mind, but she saw the look in his eyes and prepared the space. For 2 weeks, Elena and Daniel stayed with Marcus's family. Elena helped around the house despite her injuries, insisting on earning her keep. Daniel and Marcus's daughter, Sophia, became fast friends. Slowly, Elena began to heal, both physically and emotionally. Marcus never asked for anything. He shared what little he had, worked extra hours to put more food on the table, and treated them like family. Then one afternoon, a sleek black car pulled up to the garage. 2 men in expensive suits stepped out, and Marcus felt his stomach drop. Had her husband found them? But Elena emerged from the office, and instead of fear, her face showed relief. These men, it turned out, were lawyers. Her lawyers. What Elena hadn't told Marcus was that before her marriage, she'd been Elena Hartwell, heiress to the Hartwell oil fortune. She'd given up everything for love, only to find herself trapped in a nightmare. These lawyers had finally located her after she'd managed to send them a coded message. Her husband was now facing charges, and her family wanted her home. As the truth unfolded, Marcus stood there in shock. He'd been helping someone worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The irony wasn't lost on him. But Elena looked at him with tears streaming down her face. "You saved us when we had nothing," she said. "You didn't help us because of who we were or what we could give you. You helped us because you have a good heart." Elena insisted on repaying Marcus's kindness. She paid off his debts, set up a college fund for Sophia, and invested in his garage, transforming it into a successful chain. But more than that, she and Daniel became part of Marcus's family. The bond forged in those desperate days proved stronger than any wealth or status. Years later, Marcus would tell people that the night he found Elena and Daniel was the night his life changed forever. Not because of the money or success that followed, but because he learned that kindness is never wasted. He'd given what little he had to strangers, and in return, he'd gained a family and discovered his own capacity for compassion. So remember, when you see someone in need, don't walk away because you think you don't have enough to give. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change everything. You never know whose life you might save or how that moment might transform your own. Be the light in someone's darkness, just like Marcus was for Elena and Daniel. Because in the end, it's not what we have that defines us. It's what we're willing to share.